Hey there. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about emotional addiction. You may have never heard that term before, so hang in there, and I think you're going to enjoy this. Emotional addiction is an interesting term, I think. And, you know, we all know what addiction is, right? We've heard of gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, shopping addiction, all kinds of things. We all have those things we're addicted to. But when it comes to emotional addiction, you may find this to be new information for you, something that you may not have contemplated before. I dare say that all of us have a certain amount of emotional addiction. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's hurting us a lot. If you find that you are consistently ruminating about things from the past that are painful and hurtful, shameful, or guilt-ridden, things like that, ideas that you can't stop thinking about, or even with depression. Now, I'm not saying that all depression is caused from emotional addiction, but I am saying that it can be a part of this process. It could be a piece of the puzzle. So let's talk about emotional addiction and see what it is. And as you're listening to me today, think about your own life, because I will tell you, the first time I recognized it in mine, it was quite an eye-opener, quite an aha moment. And I want to reference this information. Some of this information came to me through studying the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks a little bit about this. And when I first heard him talk a little bit about it, I thought, well, that's interesting. But until I actually recognized it in myself, I hadn't flushed it out into this presentation, or this talk that I'm going to share with you right now. So let's get on with it. Emotional addiction. Best way to explain this is to think of it as a three-part experience, or a three-part explanation. That's a better word for that. So 3 parts, okay? The first part is you have an experience. And honestly, you can't not have an experience, right? We're always having an experience. You're having one now. I'm having one right now. And so that is the beginning of this 3-part explanation. It's an experience. Now, the second part is this. Whenever you're having an experience, your brain is processing that experience. It's bringing in all of this sensory data. It's bringing that in, and it's combining that with your beliefs, your values, all the filters, boundaries, everything that you've got going on in your subconscious mind, and it's figuring out, where does this experience fit with everything else that you've got going on here. Now, so that's the second part. The third part, this is interesting. Now, as your brain is processing all that information, it is releasing chemistry. That chemistry is your emotional experience. Did you ever think of that? That's what emotions are. Emotions are chemicals. You want to change the emotion? Change the chemistry. Throw some alcohol at it. Throw some sleep deprivation at it. Throw some sugar at it, right? You change the chemistry, you change the emotion. That's what emotions are. So let me back up again, okay? We have an experience. While we're having the experience, the brain is thinking about it and is processing all this information to figure out where this lands and where this belongs in your world. And the whole time it's doing that processing, it is releasing chemistry, which is your emotional experience. Now, where is it releasing this chemistry? Where's it going, right? It's not evaporating through the pores of your skin. It's going into your bloodstream. It is going into your bloodstream. So I think it's not a far stretch then to think about how, the chemistry of anger and pain and fear is going to be a very different chemistry than the chemistry of love and joyfulness and happiness. And you have to realize, or think about, what are those chemicals doing to my organs? What are they doing to my quality of life, to my metabolism, to my ability to to heal, to, what are those chemicals doing to my immune system, etc., right? So you kind of see where negative, unpleasant emotions can kind of create havoc on your physical symptoms, but I digress. Back to this. So experience, processing, emotional chemistry released into the bloodstream. Now, if you are living in an experience, I talked with a client about this the other day. She, typically when you get a divorce, you don't just decide one day, I'm not happy here anymore, I'm going to get a divorce. Your unhappiness goes on for years. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 years, sometimes it's 20 years or more. And so you're unhappy. And so you are repeatedly releasing this chemistry into your bloodstream over and over, the chemistry of doom and gloom and fear and anxiety and anger and upset, right? You're releasing that all the time. Well, what happens when your body is exposed to the same chemistry all the time, like alcohol, like heroin, like sugar? Okay, your body gets used to it. It becomes accustomed to having that chemistry at a certain level in there all the time. It becomes dependent on that chemistry. You could say it becomes addicted to the chemistry of that emotion. Does that make sense? If you're having an aha moment right now, give me a thumbs up down there. Leave some comments, some questions down below, and we'll carry on this conversation. So that's really good information. But here is the very most interesting part of this, in my opinion. So here you are. This is when it hit me. You're plugging away, minding your own business, having a perfectly lovely day, and out of the blue, bam, you start thinking about some miserable, rotten conversation you had with somebody that just pissed you off 6 months ago or 6 years ago. It could be somebody who's not even alive anymore. It doesn't matter. Here's what's happening. For some reason, you have stopped feeding your body this negative chemistry, and your body wants more. It's addicted to it, and it's craving it. And so you know what it does? This is interesting. It's like your body's taking over your brain. Your body knows exactly what thoughts to make you think that will then release the chemistry that it so desires. Insidious, isn't it? Let me say that again. You have an experience, your brain's processing it. As it processes, it's releasing chemistry, which is your emotional state. Through the repetition of any particular emotional state over and over, your physical body becomes used to it, becomes addicted to that chemistry. And when your body is running out of that chemistry, it knows exactly what thoughts to make you think, so that you will then release that chemistry and give your body its fix. This is why you can't stop thinking about your ex, who was abusive and narcissistic and hateful and cheated and lied. This person that you would rationally never go back to, but you can't stop thinking about them. And so you think to yourself, maybe it's a sign. Maybe I'm supposed to go back to them because I just can't stop thinking about them. No. The reason you can't stop thinking about them is because your body is emotionally addicted to the chemistry of that miserable situation. Perhaps. Isn't that interesting? I think it's fascinating. Now, like I mentioned, Dr. Joe, I think he commented on the 3-stage thing, and then he kind of went up onto something else. And I was like, well, that's interesting. But here's what happened to me one day. I'm a pretty upbeat person. I don't harbor a lot of ill feelings toward people, but I'm driving home one day and I started thinking about, I don't know, probably an ex relationship or something. And I just kept thinking about it, and I started getting more and more withdrawn and forlorn and just kind of, oh. And I thought, you know what I just want to do right now? I just want to go home, put on my pajamas, shut all the curtains, get in bed with a bag of chips and a bowl of ice cream and watch some movies. That just sounded so comforting to me. And that is when I realized that I was addicted to self-pity. Yeah, that's pretty common. I had become addicted to self-pity, and I hadn't really engaged in any thoughts of self-pity for quite a while. And my body was kind of like going, gosh, we kind of need some of that chemistry. It knew exactly what thoughts to throw at me. I mean, just out of the blue, I start thinking about something that triggers this desire to just find comfort in this self-pity. Ugh, that scared me. I just went, oh my God, no, 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 I am not going to live with this. This is not going to be a reality for me. So that is emotional addiction. What can you do about it? You can, through the practice of hypnosis, either working with a practitioner such as myself or learning to do self-hypnosis, which you can do if you read my book, and there's a course that goes with it as well. What you can do then is that you can rewire your subconscious mind and teach it to become addicted to the emotional chemistry of happiness and joyfulness and independence and confidence and certainty and liberation and empowerment and all those things that you want to be, right? And you probably are in many circumstances. But if you've ever just noticed how weird it is that just out of the blue, you start thinking about some miserable thing, there's a very good chance that you have become emotionally addicted. Now, I say you, but really what I mean is your body. It means that your body has become the subconscious mind and it's calling the shots. And you know what? If you remain unaware of this, it will continue to call the shots. So awareness is the first step to your recovery from emotional addiction, right? Maybe we should open a rehab center for emotional addicts. We'll probably be full on a regular basis. So that is it. That's what I like to teach people about emotional addiction. I can't tell you how many of my clients come to me with these just horrendous issues. They can't stop worrying and they can't stop ruminating, and it's just miserable. And it is miserable because if you have watched one of my other videos, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between really doing something or just thinking about it. So if you are just thinking about that miserable whatever, it feels like it's really happening to you right now. Please, please know it's nothing more than an echo from the past. You're just hearing an echo. It's not real. But you need to reprogram your brain, and you can do that with self-hypnosis. You can do that or with on your own or by working with a practitioner such as myself. Now, again, if you really love this information and you would like to help other people with this, because a lot of people who watch my channel and people that I talk to, they're already in the healthcare industry, the alternative healthcare, whatever you want to call it. They're the massage therapists, or even people like, card readers or astrologists or psychics, people like that. They work with people a lot, but this is one thing that they haven't really identified, that once they understand about it, they can see how this too is interfering with the quality of life in their clients. So if you would like to learn more about hypnosis and become a certified hypnotist, please check out the information down below in the description box. I would love to have you in my class. Also, as I mentioned, I have a book and a course on self-hypnosis. And leave your comments, questions for me below. I hope you enjoyed this little talk about emotional addiction, and I'll bet it's got you thinking, definitely. So I'll leave it to you, and yeah, I'll see you on the next go around.